Hey folks, good morning. It's beautiful weather today, cool breeze, around 60 something degrees. Beautiful morning. I'm just driving, doing some errands. Hey, so let me talk about parking, okay? I'm a disabled individual and I try to utilize efficient parking in a way that fits everyone, makes everybody happy. But what makes me angry is when I go to a place, to any store, and there is a no parking sign or there's stripes, angled stripes that states that place is not that spot is not to be parked on. Now, what makes me angry and is frustrating me a lot is every place I've gone through. It doesn't matter if it's in my community or another community. I see people parking on that spot. People don't understand that spot means no parking because guess what? It might be there's some safety hazard. It might be an area where law enforcement or medical team needs to get in there for an emergency, things like that. But foremost, it's also for elderly and disabled individuals. I've been watching videos of individuals who knowingly illegally park on those spots and other spots. I follow this one young lady. She is disabled. She's in a wheelchair, and she puts this sticker on the windows of these illegal parked vehicles, stating that parking here can cost you $500. And she purposely do that because it's giving them an understanding. She could have called the police and said, "Hey, this is illegal parking, blah blah blah." They could have towed that vehicle and get individual can get a ticket. In one case, they came back, her and her mother. The truck is gone, but somebody took the sticker out of the guy's window and threw it on the street. The reality is people are too lazy, and I'm going to say the word lazy, to walk over 2, 3 parking spot, 5 parking spot, just because they are in an area where they think they can park. Second, people don't understand when you have a parking, we call it a tab right here. It does not mean anyone can park with a tab or with a placard. It means the individual who's driving or has been driven has the ability to drive to park on that parking spot. But the law says every state has this. If the individual who's disabled is not in the vehicle with you, you cannot park at that parking spot, even though you have the placard. That's the law. And people abuse that every time, and it makes me angry because there's people out there who needs that parking spot. And people say, "Well, you can't ask me questions." You're right. But in my home state, I have to carry this one little ID. It has my name, the placard number of my disability placard to park, and it's certified and verified that because I have that placard and I have this card, that I am the driver or the owner of that vehicle or vehicles I'm driving, because that placard says I am the disabled individual. What angers me is when people says, "Well, I don't need that." The law says, quote, it does mandate that people who are driving with those kind of placard in this state of Washington is supposed to have those ID cards because people abuse them. A few nights ago, I was parking in an area where it's lighted, and these 2 elderly individuals had to park 6, 7 spots away, even though they have a placard. Yes, we can't question if a person is disabled or not with a placard, but the reality is a lot of people abuse that. I've seen it too many times where somebody's mom or dad or grandparent drives the car or co-own the car, and a young kid is driving it. Here's the reality, folks. We are not privileged. We are equal in our responsibility to help each other. Just because you're not disabled or you know somebody's disabled but he or she needs to get that space doesn't mean you have the right to take over that spot, because a lot of times you're taking advantage of people who need that spot more than anybody. That night, I was leaving my parking spot. I told the lady and the man if they want to move to my spot, I'll hold it for them. And I did. The elderly lady said, "Thank you very much, sir." I said, "No, it's an equal opportunity because this is my responsibility as an adult. It's my responsibility as a community member to protect this the equality that we need in this life. We're not perfect, but we can't just abuse this privilege to park because we have a placard. No. If you don't need the placard or you don't need that parking spot, please don't use it. You're taking it away from elderly and other disabled individual. It angers me every time I see people do that. Now, that's your choice, but it makes me really angry when somebody tells me I don't have the right to call police. I do. Here's another joke, okay? So I was parked, having lunch, having breakfast with my wife, and a police officer pulled behind me. Look at my placard. I came out. I said, "Can I help you, officer?" "Yes." "Do you have?" I said, "Sir, don't worry. I get the. Here's my driver's license, and here's my placard ID." And he said, "You know what? You're the first person I've ever met who carries it." I said, "You know why? Because that's a privilege. That's not no one's right. No one has the right to have that placard, except for people who are really disabled. That's a privilege, and people don't understand that. So if you think I'm wrong to be angry when people are parking on a disabled parking spot or parking illegally in a vertical or what I call angled striped non-parking zone, then tell me why it's your right to do that. Why are you taking the privilege that you have to park or drive and take it away from people who are disabled who needs that parking spot? Please help me, because I don't understand why people would do that. So please take care, have a nice day, and stay safe.